Good morning, everyone. I thought I'd give you another little story today. A little bit different, but, but a twist at the end. A woman I knew whose age 46 at the time was chatting with this American foreigner online. We've been chatting about 6 months. He was 62, tall, handsome. Anyway, they finally met and he retired here. Everything was fantastic. There was not much of an age gap. She didn't have any children. He didn't have any children. So they built a little house just off the highway towards the province. A lovely little place, really nice. And between them, they made it home. And for the next 3.5 years, everything was pure bliss. I used to visit there sometimes. Sometimes she told me she was so happy. She wished she met him when she was younger, but she was very content on him. She did have 10 siblings, all living not too far out of her. And they all got on with this foreigner also. And the father of the woman moved in with him as his wife already passed away. He was about 66. Anyway, during the course of this 3.5 years, the father developed a really bad stomach cancer and he needed medical attention. It wasn't going to be cheap. However, the foreigner who was married to this girl paid the bill. The bill came to 800,000 pesos. And the father returned home and seems to making good recovery and all was good. However, 12 months after the last hospital visit, the cancer returned with a vengeance. Again, the foreigner paid another 800,000 to the delight of the family and his wife. They said he was very generous, he was very kind and very understanding. The father made a recovery and returned home. Then this foreigner, he realized he spent 1.6 million. Nearly all his savings had now gone after building the house. But he had a decent pension, so all was not lost. The father recovered from 6 to 7 months and then returned cancer with a big vengeance. This time, the foreigner said, "If I wasn't here," he said to his wife, "how could your father manage?" And she replied, "The 10 siblings will have all chipped in together and all scrape and save and beg and borrow to get the treatment for him." The foreigner said, "Well, I paid twice. I cannot afford to pay for the third time. So it's now up to you and your siblings." Which, fair enough. He paid twice. Why should he need to pay? As soon as the siblings heard this, of course they turned against him, saying he was tight, he was stingy, he was nasty, he was a bad guy, even though in 2 occasions he helped them massively. So they stopped talking to him and tried to push his wife away from him also. 2 months later, the father sadly passed away. with the terrible cancer. And of course, they now need to pay for the funeral and the wake and the coffin. So of course, they start talking to this foreigner again, being nice, being humorous, and asking him if he's gonna pay for the funeral. And he said, well, I will pay half. It's about 160,000. I will pay 80,000. And you have to raise the money between yourselves for the difference. Oh, all hell broke loose. They didn't like that. They didn't want to pay anything. Not a peso. So again, they stopped talking to him and kept on pushing his wife away from him with bad words and saying he was this, saying he was that, which he wasn't. He was a very nice guy. Anyway, he approved his funeral and that was that. All done and dusted. At this time, the foreigner knew he had a really bad diabetes for a number of years. And this now progressed to a really, really bad glaucoma, which, as you know, causes your eyesight to deteriorate and eventually go. So he was in a bit of a quandary because he didn't have a lot of money left and he had to travel from Cebu and 2 or 3 occasions to Manila for tests. But the worst thing ever is now that they convinced his wife to leave him, so he was now living alone in his house. That can barely say his hand in his face. Who's gonna take him to the shop? Who is gonna take him shopping? Who gonna take him for his medication? Who gonna take him to the doctor? His wife then said, I will only take you if you pay me, or one of my siblings will take you if you pay them. What could the guy do? Even after he helped his wife and his siblings, this is how they repaid them. During these 4 years since he'd been married, he also lent the siblings money never paid back, which is normal here. He just couldn't say no. And that's why he pleased him a bit. But now, he's living his own. No contact from his wife, no contact from the sibling, just hate. And fortunately, the woman next door that lived to him had a daughter that was 19, a single mama. So the mama looked after the baby while the daughter went to see his need daily to help him. Of course, she needs paying. And he did give her a salary of 10,000 pesos a month, which was fair because the girl really did help him. She was a caregiver, a nice girl, one of a kind, unlike the family. Eventually, the strange wife wanted the foreigner to pay an annulment and wanted to sell the house so she can have half of the profit. However, he wasn't able to sell the house. This was the case here in the Philippines. A foreigner will buy the house, but it's very difficult to sell it. Why? Number one, it's out of reach of the most Filipinos. And number two, the Filipinos that could afford will knock you down to the rock bottom price where you will lose a lot of money. So you can see the predicament he was in. But he's still been cared for as far as I know. He's been looked after as far as I know. But barely and rarely goes out to the house. There's a story about what happens to you, one, when you get very old and the girl or the family don't love you. And two, when You give too much in the first instances. Twice he paid an astronomical sum, which totaled 1.6 million. Why he did that? I don't care if you're a caring person. It's up to the family and siblings to share some of the responsibility. After all, it's their father. Anyway, that's the end of the story. Yes, those of you saying it's not true, it's actually true. It actually happened. And he's still living there now. So, plan ahead. Plan that you have money for medication as you get older. Plan that you have a lot of savings in the bank. Not so much when your pension will come regularly, and that you cover your back and some small eventualities. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's tale. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please use this as an example and never let that happen to you. Good morning. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Until my next video. Take care.